Here we go. 3, 2, 1. This is WJHS Studios. It is time for the monthly school board report where we invite in our guest, Dr. Laura McDermott. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I cannot believe it's already been a month since last time we chatted. I swear the weather was a little bit nicer last time you were in, but it's always good to have you in to be able to kind of talk shop, if you will, with all things that are happening with Whitley County Consolidated Schools. We have parent-teacher conferences on the way. We have fall break on the way. And things, we got a big grant to talk about. We have the school board meeting last night. And it's always great to hear your perspective because, you know, most of the day, I'm in the classroom and just to kind of get your insights into here's what's going to happen, here what has happened. We throw in some celebrations. We throw in like announcements to the community and stuff like that just make it, I don't know, I like that high touch information that feels really good as part of not only the school culture, but also the larger community. So I'm always happy to have you in studio. Where would you like to begin today? Do we want to start with parent-teacher conferences? Because I have some phone calls to make myself.
Oh, sure.
Today, parent-teacher conferences. Tell me if I'm wrong here. We have fall break next week.
Next week, yes. Can't wait.
Woohoo! But we also have an opportunity to face-to-face, just like you and I are doing, to have teachers to meet with parents, meet with students, meet with their classroom expanded in some ways for those students who are in need or having a lot of absences, particularly in my classes. How do we keep their education going? Would you like to chat about that just a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. It's a great time for parents, grandparents, guardians to reach out and have that face-to-face with teachers and talk about what's going well with their children and where the challenges might be and how could we work together, how could we team up to address those challenges. And it's the one time during the year when you have your child's teacher one-on-one right in front of you, and it's just you and the teacher talking about your child.
Right, that specific high engagement. Hey, this is very valuable as a conversation. And I'm working with a couple of parents right now myself, just from my classes throughout the day. We have 8 class periods and some early in the morning, some late in the afternoon, to how do we maximize the opportunity for the kids to have a complete education. So I have to make some phone calls today. Emails went out. By this point, you have an opportunity. I believe all teachers were encouraged to have a way to schedule a calendar appointment in there. So be looking for that email. If you can't find it, of course, get a hold of the school. It's for your kiddos, for crying out loud. So I'm looking forward to that. Parent-teacher conferences are the 25th.
They're on Wednesday.
The 25th then. So you have a little bit of time, not a ton of time, to get that arranged and scheduled. What's great is that leads right into fall break. So a lot of the parent-teacher conference opportunities to gather are intentionally in the evening. They're spread out so you can have an extended conversation, or if you happen to work during the day, like some of us do, that you can have to take advantage of that. Check the email, get a hold of the school for more opportunities on that. That being said, any big plans for fall break for yourself, Dr. McDermott?
Yeah, we are. We're going to head down to the Great Smoky Mountains and take in the fall color, spend some time hiking around down there.
Driving or flying?
We're going to drive down because we have our Huskies. So
okay, yes,
we'll take them with us, but yeah.
They tend to want more leg room than is allowed on airplanes is what I hear. That's fun. That's fun. We might go visit my brother in Fort Wayne and stuff like that. He's got the kiddos, so it should be a very sugar-filled adventure. Let's say that with oh my gosh, their characters. I love them growing up. Every day something is new for them. So that'll be my fall break. Fall break is on the way. It is the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Which it feels like we kind of need. Of course, I'm coming off of a bit of being under the weather myself, but take advantage of those parent-teacher conferences. Let's change gears and dive into the happenings in and around the school district. Whitley County Consolidated Schools, every third Monday of the month, has the school board meeting. Of course, it is open to the public to attend, but in case you didn't get out there, a little recap with Dr. Laura McDermott, the superintendent of the school district here. What was all covered in the school board meeting last night? We have a few big topics to hit up.
We do. We started off the meeting, though, last night, the Marching Eagles. So we had about a fourth of the Marching Eagles were there representing their group. And that was really great to see them. And Jen Flanagan, one of the boosters, was there and related all the successes that they have had this season. And I don't know if you've got an opportunity to see them. I saw them in a couple football games.
Championships,
yeah.
There are a couple of videos floating out there online, too.
They are. And then I went to Homestead, and I saw them perform at Homestead, and they were awesome. The sound that they were able to make, just even as small as their group was, they had a great sound, and the color guard looked wonderful and really added to the performance. So they did a really, really nice job, and the kids represented themselves very well and did a nice job last night talking to the board about what the band participation in the band, the color guard, meant to them.
It is a family.
It really is.
I have a few students in my class who are in the band, and we filmed it here at WJHS Studios, so of course you can go up online, but we don't release. A lot of people think we're ignoring them at halftime during football games. We're not, though. We're actually paying attention to competition rules. We're not supposed to put out their footage to view to the public because it can ruin their competition chances. I don't know why that's the rule, but that's the rule. So we don't film it, but we have filmed and released after the season some of their footage, and to listen to some of my students talk who are in the band, even members that don't normally like run in the same friend circles, they'll bump into each other, and they saw the video and they're like, oh yeah, that was before we added this and that and the flag bearers and we changed this move around, and they are snappy on it. Like they are in the driver's seat in having an awareness of what's around them that I just enjoyed listening to these young people have this conversation. So even though we filmed, what was it, just a month ago, 6 weeks ago for one of our home football games, and showed them that footage, releasing after the words for practice purposes, to their last competition at Homestead. Oh my goodness, to hear them like kind of get after it. They're like, oh, that's not how it is now. Blah, 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 blah. I was really entertained by just enjoying that. I stopped what I was doing at my desk and just sat there and just listened, overhearing the student conversation like you do as a teacher. And I do have to give them a big proud moment from me, if they're listening right now, that like, hey, you guys are definitely making it more of a family from what your collective focus is on. I think that's so great.
Absolutely. And they are, and it impressed me how many play multiple instruments. I know one of them said that he had learned 3 or 4 different instruments, and the drum majors, and it just really is impressive how talented they are.
Yeah.
And how much time they spend on developing.
If anything, put on the video in the background today and just enjoy it from that, and realize each one of those individuals, especially the seniors, they have honed their craft like impressively. So they were at the school board meeting last night. We had a representative group. Yep. We got to talk them up a little bit. Moving forward in our itinerary for last night at the school board meeting, what else was discussed?
Well, we had our special education director and assistant director, and they presented last night on just our special education program and what we offer here in the district and just the growth of that program. So they provided that information, and then we did talk about, so a week ago, last Thursday, there was a team that presented to Ford Next Generation Learning, which is a national organization, and we were awarded Ford Next Generation Learning Community designation. So that's a national designation. We are the 3rd district in the state to receive that designation. We are by far the smallest district of the 3.
Woohoo!
Yeah, well, because Greater Clark received it I'm going to say probably, I don't know, I would say probably 8 years ago, something like that. Fort Wayne Community Schools received that designation in the spring.
So the Ford NGL grant, the Next Generation grant.
Yeah, it's really part of the 3E grant, but it's the designation, and it's something that we've been working toward for several years. But we're the furthest along as far as implementation. Fort Wayne's not going to start implementing it, it's my understanding, until next school year. We're one of the few districts across the nation, based on my understanding, that are implementing K-12.
K-12, okay, so a little bit different even from maybe our neighbors. What does this mean for the district? What does this mean for the staff? What does this mean for the kids?
Well, for the district, it's basically acknowledgement of the great work that's being done in the district by the staff.
So I was right to woohoo.
Yeah, absolutely. For the staff, it really doesn't. There's no change. It's the work we've been doing all the way along. For the students, it's what it offers is more voice and choice in their education, particularly as they get older. More opportunities to pursue their interests, to dive into different careers, to see, oh, is this something I want to do, or is this something I want to do before they graduate, so they know when they graduate that diploma, they get a diploma, but they know where that diploma is taking them. They know where they're going to go.
It gives them a chance to be a step ahead.
Absolutely. And hopefully earn lots of credits before they graduate. So not only do they know where they're going, but now I've got all these credits under my belt, so I can take these with me.
And go and run with them.
Absolutely.
With them. So it's giving more opportunity to be further advanced in the career paths that students choose. Or in some circumstances, especially with the internship program, that I continue to be impressed by the work of that program, that to give students an opportunity to try out a position, especially here locally, teaming up with local businesses, and maybe go, ooh, that isn't for me. Those are some of the best conversations to have. You have someone who gets to be a veterinarian, and then they get in there and they're like, no, thank you. Those are some of the, we chuckle at them, but at the same time, like, instead of it going through college, going directly into the field, earning, fighting, training in a job, and then going, wow, this career path is not what I imagined it would be for myself. It's not that it's a bad career path. Sometimes you just don't mesh well. And then you find a student who does come across something that they tried, they didn't like, they change, and then they find what they love. And we're like, yeah, we just saved you 5 years in adult career work time.
Absolutely. And then, in that scenario, but then in others, when they find an adult or find a position where they're mentored and this company loves them and is a great match, and now they've got somebody who says, you know what, we'll pay you to go back to school. We'll pay you to get your degree. We'll pay you, and then you come back and work for us. So many opportunities open up for kids that way. And so it's just
we have cool kids.
Really great. Yeah, we do.
We have kids.
Awesome business community partnerships. I mean, this community is beyond anything when it comes to working with the school district.
Right. It's really fun to see. So kind of a side shuffle there from the NGL, the Ford NGL announcement, I guess you could say, the celebration that we have there. But also, I really am impressed and jealous for my own education. I wish this existed when I graduated.
So do I.
But I think, doing it the right way for the kids is the best that there is. What else to keep our topics moving here happened at the school board meeting yesterday?
We also had the public hearing for the tentative collective bargaining agreement. So that's the agreement. Every 2 years, we bargain with the Teachers Association. And in this district, it's it is always a very positive experience. And I've got to credit the teachers. I've got to credit the Teachers Association. It's always very professional. It's always very positive. And everybody wants what's best for the teachers, because we know that that's where the work happens. That's where everything that's good about this district happens, is in the classroom for the kids. And not only just our teachers, but also what happens with our teachers in that contract also goes to our paras and our custodians and our bus drivers and
the whole team.
It does, absolutely. And so we were able to reach an agreement, and I think it's a very positive agreement for everyone. And so hopefully November 6th at the work session, because I know will be a ratification vote for the Teachers Association, I think sometime this week, and then it'll go back to the school board for their ratification vote, and then hopefully everybody will say, yay, we agree, and we can
And I know
move on.
you don't have the paperwork in front of you for those changes. Could you provide a quick summary of what some of the differences are this year? I know time off was something that was discussed and has been changed over the last couple of years. From my side on things, just some of the senior staff members that I've talked to, the teaching staff, they are happy, and they're still talking back and forth about it. So would you happen to have a little sneak peek on what is different this year? That I know the time off and how we designate that is changed around a little bit. What else is on that changes for approval compared to previous years?
So we didn't change the flex days. We didn't mess with that at all.
Okay.
Really, we left that alone. What we really worked in was salaries. So $5,000 year one, $2,000 year two, and it's a mixture of increase in base salary and stipends depending on where you are.
Okay.
And then there's a whole thing about VEBA, retirement. So VEBA just pays for medical, and a lot of teachers, that's less valuable to them. So we're going to grandfather the VEBA and move that over to a 401A. So those dollars. So right now we do a 1.25 match if a teacher contributes 1% of their salary. So going forward, we'll do a 2% match. So you put in 1%, we'll put in 2%. Insurance stayed the same. So the money, the increase in salary is real dollars. It's dollars you'll realize in your pocketbook, which is always a good thing.
Good to know.
I think those are
And the
really
official
big
ratification,
things.
the official ratification happens this upcoming work session for the school board members.
For the board.
For the board,
To
yes.
vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The association has to ratify it.
Looking
first,
forward to it.
though.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that quick recap. Some items I'd not been aware of the VEBA change as well, even in discussion I have with various circles of teachers around here, from the science department to the math teachers and all of that. It is interesting how some pay attention, math teachers in particular, look at numbers a little bit harder and stuff like that. I wonder why that is.
We did increase to the extracurricular stipends. It's about, generally speaking, a 10% increase in those stipends. And we added some positions, took some positions away, that kind of thing. But
Very good to know. Okay, moving forward away from teacher and staff contracts with WCCS, we had, from what I caught, I didn't hear the whole school board meeting last night. We discussed approval procedures for books in libraries, always a hot topic these days, as well as we went through some celebrations and some that I thought was really cool. In fact, so much so that I think I'm going to take a little snip of the discussion that was had last night and perhaps do a promotional piece, because we have kids going to state, cross country's being awesome. Our band that we talked about earlier is doing great. Football team's cool. And it was just like this little compact from the 6th graders, 7th graders, all the way through to our high schoolers, doing notable things. Which item would you like to discuss?
Well, the 8th grade football team, I know they play Wednesday night, and in the championship game. And Mr. Westmullet at the middle school was saying this would be, and well, I'm going to knock on wood here. If they win, it'll be the 2nd year in a row that they would have run the tables.
Which is not something that happens.
No.
It is historically, you look at middle schoolers, they put it together, they're hot one year, and then they're kind of middle of the pack next year. And that's how it's been for 100 years, because middle schoolers grow up, they move on. And so, of course, it makes sense. So to have 2 years in a row, that is a really big moment for our school and our students as well.
And good future for our high school.
Good point.
Team. Yeah. So that's looking good. And the cross country, he highlighted that. They did a great job. Girls volleyball, he called them out. 7th grade, I think he said.
I think it was 7th, yes.
Grade.
Forgive us if we're wrong.
Yeah, I know. So lots going on. Trying to think if there was anything else. I don't have my notes for that one. I didn't bring my written notes. I just brought what I had on my phone.
That's quite all right. It's still great to have a conversation. Was there anything else that we wanted to discuss before we wrap up kind of this school board report where you give the grades out to the discussion, if you will? We do a little recap review each and every month. It's always fun. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. I think we hit the highlights. I appreciate it, though. Thank you.
I look forward to the next one. Of course, if you can't hear the school board meeting itself, you can't be in attendance. It's the 3rd Monday of the month. We always try and do a little recap. That, the voice of Dr. Lauren McDermott, the superintendent of Whitley County Consolidated Schools. We always try and get back in the studio the Tuesday following and put it on the air to kind of encourage, especially, when the school board meeting runs 2 hours. Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's nice to have the little 10, 15, 20-minute version here with some insights where we get to ask questions and be like, hey, what was exactly talked about here? And I think you do pretty well at representing the views expressed. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Of course, enjoy the day. This is WJHS 91.5.